I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Please be seated, be comfortable. This is the January 19th meeting of the Northwestern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. We're glad to see everybody here, and we will proceed down the agenda as listed until we have noticed that we have a full commission, and we do not at this time, so we're acting in the capacity of the executive board at this time. If there are any votes prior to the full commission being present, only executive board members will be voting. Right, we begin then with new appointment to the commission. Mr. Hollenbeck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we will all recall, our enabling statute provides for an appointment process for membership on NERC. And the way that process works is once you are appointed to NERC, you retain that appointment until such time as we're notified by your appointing authority that they are changing. So what I have in front of me this morning are those that have been changed as of January 1st. The town of Burns Harbor has appointed Ray Paparad as their appointment. I believe Ray's down there. Why don't you raise your hand? The town of Couts has appointed Tim Jones. He's way back there at the end. Figuratively, not literally.
Thanks, Dave.
The town of, city of Crown Point has appointed Andrew Kairis, and I don't think he is on here. And finally, the town of Dyer has appointed Mary Tanis, who is over there. Hi, Mary. To our new members, welcome, and we look forward to working with you. I'm sorry, one other one. Jim Biggs is with us from the Board of County Commissioners. We haven't received the letter yet that does that, but as he knows, I happened to be at the meeting when the county commissioners did do that, so I can attest to the fact that he was appointed to represent the Board of County Commissioners. So welcome, Jim, as well. Okay. We are duly constituted.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to all the new appointees. It's good to have you here. Appreciate it. And as of right now, we have a commission full commission unless somebody gets aggravated or ill and leaves. We'll hope neither happens. Approval of the minutes would be the next item on the agenda, and those would be the minutes of the December 8th Executive Board meeting. Do I have a motion? I have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
I have a second. Thank you. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Report of the Executive Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, welcome to all the new commissioners. You have some, hopefully some packets in front of you with some good bedtime reading to get you up to speed. I just want to say our staff is always at your disposal if you have any questions at all. And in fact, if the staff that actually happens to be here today could just raise their hands just so they can see who they can run to for some assistance. Look at that, well represented.
Run to or run at?
Depends on what they're run to. If you have a question, run at. If you're particularly energized about something.
Run from.
Or run from, as Hollenbeck just said. So please come to see us with any questions at all. There's a lot to take in that this commission deals with, so we're glad that you're here. And one of the things that I've personally really appreciated that I've witnessed is the amount of help and assistance that all the commissioners here have given each other. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions. So welcome. You have at your places a printout of the 2016 year in review. This is all NERC's activities over the past year, even more bedtime reading. Just to let you know in advance, I do know there are some typos in here already. This is a printout of what's actually a web-based product, which you'll be getting a link to either today or tomorrow. And you can read that when you receive that link. But this is everything that's happened the past year, and as always, it's been a busy year for the commission. One of the things you'll notice in there from last year is that this agency received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting Award. And once again, we received the certificate, thanks to Angie Hayes and her staff for the work that's done in our financial reporting. This is what was received, and from the Government Financial Officers Association. Just well done. It speaks really well for the way the books are handled here in the office. And likewise, because of the expertise we have here in the staff, please avail yourself of our own staff if you have questions or anything that Angie can help you with.
I think it'd be appropriate to give our financials director and staff a hand.
Great. We also have a brand new website that's been launched just at the end of the year. Still got a few kinks to work out in it, but it's up and live. It's much more navigable than the old one that was launched 4 years ago. Much more clear, search engine works, good information on events coming up, sign-ups for anyone who wants to sign up for notification of NERC activities, so please check that out at nerc.org. That is live, and also eventually will be formatted for mobile screens as well, so that is at your disposal also. Speaking of NERC staff, we have 2 staff that are with us today that I want to take the time to recognize. For those of you that are new, we recognize key milestones for NERC staff, and some of the NERC staff have been contributing to the agency for a very long period of time. And the 2 that I have today are for John Smith and Jody Melton. If you could stand up for a minute. And come on up. So Jody Melton, many of you know through the Kankakee River Basin Commission. Jody also helps us out here quite a bit, and he's just been a very strong fixture of staff. The thing that staff, I think, appreciates the most is he will often be set up with a grill right outside on our staff cookout days. He's like the local pitmaster. And Jody has been here for 35 years. So Jody, thank you very much for your service. There you go. Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. And then secondly, John Smith, who's been here 40 years. This is his 40 years service. So John is responsible for all the graphics that take place in the office. So everything you see from your nameplates to the signs directing you where to go outside to even did the signs that are hanging out there in the window that indicate the forum and NERC. And he's got a very good stylistic sense. In fact, there's a lot that I didn't know about John earlier, that he even contributed to design of some of the South Shore trains way back when that was going on. And if you look at the South Shore, I forget the name of the actual title, but there's a documentary out right now on the South Shore line that John was instrumental in providing information on that history. History of the rails. Thank you. So John, congratulations. And I know some of you were looking at those certificates saying, boy, if I only had a certificate myself. Well, at this time, we've started this tradition of acknowledging those of you who went above and beyond in many cases in attending every NERC Commission meeting that has taken place in 2016. And just so those of you that have not been here for all of them don't feel too bad, because technically the executive board is to be here for all of those meetings, and the full commission technically meets 4 times a year. But for those of you who stuck it out and were faithful and were here almost every month, we have awards for George Topol. And for Kevin Britsky, I don't think Kevin's... This was for 2016.
He's out of the
He's out of the running for 2017.
Okay.
Jeff Benson. Dave Schaefer. Of course, our illustrious chair, Jim Tennant. And that is my report.
I have to humbly say, I didn't have any choice, so that's me here. Anything else?
Maybe a picture afterwards with all the awardees would be good.
Sure. Absolutely. They have to stick it out for the rest of the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Does that conclude?
That does.
All right. Finance and Personnel Committee report. Mrs. Knoll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Finance and Personnel met this morning, and we have 3 items for your approval. First one is South Shore Clean Cities Agreement. You'll be page 8 through 16. The Personnel and Finance Committee recommends this for approval. Therefore, I make a motion.
We have a motion on South Shores Clean City Agreement. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second. I have 2 seconds. Any discussion? So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, please.
Okay, next item is the Air Quality Survey Agreement. You find that on page 17 through 35. And I make a motion to the full conclusion.
We have a motion to approve the Air Quality Survey Agreement,
Second.
and I have a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agreement is passed.
Okay, and the final action is Resolution 17-1 on internal control system and materiality variances. And this is an item that is required by the State Board of Accounts, and we recommend this, and I make a motion.
We have a motion on
I second.
Resolution 1701 and internal controls. And you all enjoyed that video this morning.
Oh, that was
We've seen it on the town council too. I
Yes.
imagine everybody probably seen it.
26 minutes.
Not that we were counting. 26 minutes.
And
We we do have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion beside my comment? All those in favor of 1701, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. 1701 is accepted.
Okay, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, ma'am. Legislative Committee, Mayor Milo.
The Legislative Committee met, I think it was November of last year, that we started formulating some ideas about different priorities of issue areas that we wanted to keep track of, certainly principally being the area of transportation and looking at the state and federal levels this year. Lots happening, I think, in both areas that is a fast-moving train, to pardon the pun, but the roads and transportation bridges pieces is working in the state. I think there's a lot of discussion that's going on right now that we are continuing to track as we've seen some of the bills being put forward. We are working with partner agencies across the state and with the National Association of Regional Councils, with some of the federal legislation. And so we will continue to monitor the progress on not only the road transportation pieces, but also rail, that it's an exciting year for rail components, particularly for Northwest Indiana, with the Westlake Corridor project is moving forward, and now the double tracking is certainly an initiative that is gaining momentum in Indianapolis, and certainly working to encourage the support of that with federal legislation as well, or federal support as well. And so Those are, I think, kind of the key issues that we're tracking right now. With NARC, we're also working on tracking what some of the impacts may be, that there was sort of a last-minute rule that was approved last year as far as MPO organization. And with all of the changes that seem to be coming in Washington, D.C., administrative changes as well, we're not sure how that rule may be affected, if affected. We are working with partners that are affected by this, which cross many states for us here, that it affects the Chicago metropolitan area, Wisconsin, and trying to discourage the implementation of this rule that really seemed to address one particular area of the country, but has been vehemently opposed by many other MPOs across the country. So we will be working on that. February will be the NARC conference, and I know that many folks are headed out to DC to be a part of that discussion, so we'll get some updates on where things are sitting with federal legislation, and we'll visit with our congressional delegation from this region here, and I think we've got at least 3 of the 4 meetings lined up already, and so just a lot of moving pieces with those specific areas, and we will continue to update as things progress. If anybody at any point has things that they want to offer to the legislative committee that you'd like for us to take a look at, that we always welcome those ideas. We meet on an as-needed basis, I think, as we look at different things that are coming down the pipeline, but we've got some really great folks working on many initiatives from a city and a county perspective on things, and from the South Shore perspective with the double tracking. It's just really, really encouraging and exciting to see the regional cooperation that's coming together to support this project that affects Lake Porter, LaPorte, and St. Joe County, and how everybody's working to try and make that happen in a very expeditious fashion because of the unique opportunity that's come forward through the federal legislation with that. So that's, I think, the best update I can give at this point. If there's any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer any of those at this point, or at any other time that folks may have something that arises.
Thank you, Mayor. Milo, any questions for the mayor? Just other than I would only comment that I think we've taken as strong a stand as we can against the proposed rule change, which would force combination with CMAP and others. I don't know what more we can do, but please advise us if a second action is needed or anything further. This, it seems to resurface, thought we had this thing fairly well knocked down, but it's got a second life.
Right, I think that was the consensus of many folks who thought that this was going to go away, and all of a sudden in the 11th hour, it seemed to have come forward. Now, like I said, with the administration changes, we'll see where that actually goes, and I think we'll probably have a better sense of what needs to be done probably after our conference in February. If anything's going to happen with it before then, I'm sure that our staff will advise us of such changes. I wouldn't anticipate that happening because they probably have just a few things on their list that they're working on that may take priority before the MPO coordination will.
Certainly would have a detrimental effect on the effectiveness of this organization, and we want to stand ready to support any efforts that need to be made.
Well, I don't know. I like to believe that NERC is going to stand strong no matter what the federal government wants to do to us, but we'll just work through those challenges. But we prefer not to.
We appreciate your update, and let us know if there's more that needs to be done.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mayor Milo? Mr. Benson, EMPC.
The draft minutes from our November meeting are on pages 43 and 44. We had a joint meeting with the Federal Urban Waters Partnership. It was very informative. Our next meeting is the first Thursday of February at 9 o'clock here. And our January and December meetings, we didn't have a quorum. No, I'm kidding. We didn't have a meeting. took off for the holidays. So we'll see you all on February, the first Thursday, right here at 9. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Benson? Report of the chair, just very quickly, we have had, I think, a very good year here at NERC, celebrated 50 years, and celebrated that in fine fashion. Thank you, sir. It was well done, and it's a real milestone in this organization to reach that point. Also, we're sitting this year, as different from past years, in a newly remodeled facility, the new offices, so we're very thankful that that came to fruition and that the organization could readjust itself to its new environment. Its digs are now in place. And I believe that, and I hope that I don't say this to set a jinx on anything, but I believe our wheels are down on the new parameters for our committee structure with a few tweaks. Thank you, Mayor Milo, for your work in setting that up, and we've worked at your leadership and continue to, I think, get the wheels down so we're ready to. I don't know if we're at the terminal yet, but
We're getting there.
we definitely did make I think, headway this year at getting our new committee structure in place and in operation. So it's been a very good year, and hopefully we can continue on from there. I see no reason not to. The nominating committee has met. You see before you a list of the nominations made by the nominating committee, and they consist of the nomination of Mr. Michael Griffin for chair, Mr. Jeff Benson for vice chair, Ms. Diane Knoll for secretary, Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson for treasurer, the Honorable Anthony Copeland, and the Honorable Tom McDermott for executive board for Lake County, the Honorable Blair Milo, and Mr. Keel, Justin Keel for LaPorte County, myself and Mr. Stinson from Porter County. We have very little input on the governor's appointment, but we're assuming it will be Mr. Soliday again. But that is apart from the vote. So I've presented the slate. Is there action on the slate?
Make a motion to adopt. Second, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the slate as recommended. Is there any discussion? Is there anyone who wants to make an alternative nomination? Hearing none, all those in favor of the slate signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Nay. I don't want to go. All right, we have a new slate, and it's time to exchange the gavel. So I will be more than happy to pass the gavel to Mr. Griffin.
Can I just take it down over here? You can
You
remain
certainly
seated. I like my seat. I can hear everything that Mr. McDermott is saying. I actually enjoy it.
It may not always be.
First, I want to tell you, I will try to conduct myself with the appropriate probity and somberness that you would expect in this. If you'll forbear me one moment. Yes! Thank you. I also want, if you'll allow us to celebrate the immediate past chair. There's going to be a small presentation, but let's applaud him first. Allow the presentation to applaud him. Thank you for your
Thank you, Mr. New Chair, and I will also try to do this with all probity.
I look that up after.
I think our vocabulary will be greatly increased in 2017, which I'm looking forward to. I just want to thank Mr. Tunn as well. He's been a phenomenal chair. He's been extremely conscientious about regular meetings that we've had prior to each one of these commissions, extremely engaged, extremely present, and I've really appreciated his service over this past year, and I'm also very, very grateful that he'll be continuing on the executive board to in 2017. So thank you, Mr. Tunn, for all your service.
And if you'll forbear me one more matter, we'll take leave from the agenda just a moment. I'd like to recognize all the people who have served as the chair of this board that are present. Will you just simply stand so we can acknowledge you? I know who you are. I'll point you out. I want to thank you for your leadership, and I know whatever I do, I'll be able to build on the good work all of you have done. Thank you so much for your leadership. I'll try to We may be seated and we will resume the agenda. We just want to call your attention to page 45 in your packet. I don't have to read these. I am confident that everyone up here can do that, but this will give you the schedule of meetings for the full commission and the executive board for the coming year. Please put those in the appropriate reminder device. It is now time for the Technical Planning Committee report. This will be my last report as chair, I believe. And I want to call your attention to pages, I believe it'll begin on 46 through 56 in our packet. And I just want to get to my report. We did meet the Technical Planning Committee on the 10th of January, that's this month. We basically have started to try to institute, and I want to celebrate the staff, Mitch Barloga, who helped put this together. We're trying, as part of the Wheels Down, as it was called by the immediate past chair, Mr. Tunn, we wanted to make sure that people kind of understood the role of that particular body. So we had sort of a refresher course that basically talked about the vision and principles of the 2040 Comprehensive Regional Plan and reminded us that one of the key purposes of that committee is to sort of be the clearinghouse after all of the other heavy lifting is done by the topical committees, the T-ROCs, the two T-ROCs, and the rest. That committee basically just sort of reviews that the process was followed and also sees how it aligns with the comprehensive plan. I'm now going to recognize Stephen Sesterik of the staff who will present the Regional Corridor Study Public Comment Report, which you can also find on pages 48 through 50 in your packet.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. As the chair said, starting on page 48 of your agenda, you will see there is a public comment report regarding a 30-day public comment period for the Regional Corridor Study. This comment period ran from November 17th to December 16th. We did receive a few comments. You'll see that in the matrix that follows on the following 2 pages. They were great comments. Iman, I know, was happy to receive them, and it shows, it's great to see that people are kind of thinking about this and they have ideas, and we found that they were either already addressed in the study or there's something that could potentially be addressed in coming stages as this moves forward, as the process moves forward in terms of the regional corridors and implementing this plan. So other than that, there's nothing else to really add. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sesterik. All right, you have before you then action related to that report you just received. It's recognized in your packet as Resolution 1702, which would, if you favor it, will cause the adoption of the Regional Corridor Study. We did, as a full committee, recommend this to your favor and adoption. Being in the chair, I will not make the motion representing that committee. Our vice chair is not here. The chair will favor somebody who will make that motion for its favor and adoption by the full commission. Thank you. And
Second, Mr. Chair.
it's been moved and seconded to adopt this resolution as recommended by the TPC. Is as many in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
As many opposed, say no. The yeses have it, the resolution is adopted, and the Regional Corridor Study is approved. The next matter before you is actually action on Resolution 1703. This is actually, I beg your pardon, do we have something intervening?
We had a presentation by EMAD on the corridor study first.
I beg the Commission's pardon. Iman Ibrahim, please, finish the presentation.
Good morning, everybody, but at least you adopted the study, which is great, before I present it. So, you cannot change your mind now after the presentation. Good morning, everybody. Today's presentation is regarding a study was conducted here at NERC. That was one of the major recommendations came from the 2040 plan on how to improve connectivity and how to reduce congestion within the area. So we developed this study and we conducted in-house. So it was done in-house, a team of us. I was the project manager for that. I have with me Gabrielle, Scott, and Joe We all worked in this with a different expertise, which you will see it now through the presentation. Okay. So as I mentioned, the purpose of this study to improve the connectivity of the network. We have some deficiency, we have some congestion road, and how we're going to reduce that. So first, when we started the study, we said, let's look at the area. Let's look why it's congestion, why we're having this issue. We have a connectivity issue. So how are we going to do that? So we said, let's fill the missing segments between major highways. We have an issue here, as you see in this map. We have about 14 interchanges along Highway 80. Only 6 of them are connected to US 30. And that's what caused an issue. Because, for example, here, people going to east, coming from this area, so they take 65, they take 41 to go west, and so on for the other area. So even though we have like a Grant Street, Burr Street, Klein Avenue, Kennedy Avenue, we have all of these interchanges, but it's not really have direct connection to US 30. Same when we come here to the east, even though 51 showing that is connected between 30 and 80, but it's going through downtown Hobart, has some issue, have to go with the truck traffic through all of this downtown area to come to the interchange. So here is the interchange between 49 and Willow Creek. In urbanized area like that, the maximum we can go as a distance between the interchanges is about 5 miles. We have about 8 miles between 49 and Willow Creek, which give us a need, like we might need in the future an interchange in this area as the area grow and will be more urbanized. We looked at the different area. We don't have any major connectivity here, but we have around the city of LaPorte, we have like a Boyd Street. We looked into that also because all the truck traffic going through downtown LaPorte. So that's to give you an idea how we started the project. So that's here showing the congested roads that was identified in the 2040 plan. Which is mostly here you see in the Lake County. Look at the state road, we have a lot of missing connectivity. I'm going to show you that in the next slides. So we looked at the congestion corridors and we said, okay, that's the concentration of congestion and how we're going to improve that. So in this one, so as a staff, we did like a preliminary analysis. We identified about 23 segments. Assuming that we're missing all of these links. And then after that, we invited all the local governments that already related to these segments, and we developed a steering committee to work with us on that. So from this one, we have like starting from west to east, the first one here was identified the Main Street connected to Illinois in Munster. We have 109 that was also a major connection because people here in Cedar Lake and St. John and everything, they go take 41 to reach the highway here. But if we provided a connection like that, they could go to 394, and that will really have a significant reduction in the traffic. And then moving Kennedy Avenue, they already worked in that. They have a project to connect Kennedy to US 30. We have Klein Avenue, north and south. We have Burr Street. That's like a huge missing link here, even though we have an interchange. Grant Street, the same. We have Broadway connected. However, it's really slow traffic for people to move between 30 and the interchange. But moving east of 65, we have identified here Wisconsin Road. We have also identified the North Hobart Road that provide direct connection to 51 and the interchange. County line roads, we have here 101 also, it's a missing link here. All of this missing link force people to go to the major streets or roads, and that's cause congestion. Moving to Porter County, we have the Willow Creek. There is a study already running for this area. They look at the environmental issue and how to connect this road. You won't believe the results when we did the analysis for this area. 250 and 149 also to be connected directly. We have here come to Campbell Street in Valparaiso. We have also, I can't remember everything, number, is that 18? Vale Park in this one, and moving to here 400. And then when we come to City of LaPorte, identified Boyd Street East and North. So that's the major segments that we are working with the committee. We said, okay, we identified the segments, but now that's a very artistic map showing right away bright missing links within the region. So we said we have to add more analysis. Okay, we have the segments, but how are we going to prioritize? How are we going to know exactly that it's really going to reduce congestion within the area? So we had a different analysis, the travel demand modeling, crash data around the area, roadway connectivity to other roads, not just the Highway 80 or 94, demographic analysis around the segments, the density of population and employment, the type of land use and urban centers around the area. And also we run the preliminary red flag analysis to look at really, you know, if it's feasible to build this road or not, what kind of obstacles we have, so we know how much it costs in the future to build these segments. So with the steering committee and stakeholders, we developed 10 criteria. Total of this criteria is, total score is 100. But when we develop the criteria, we give the scores based on how much improvements will happen, you know, if we fulfill these criteria, or the need of the segments. You know, if the need is very high, that will give it a priority for the future. So when we first, as number one criteria here, we looked at if the segments within a 2-mile radius from a road that has a level of surface of D, E, or F. So it's a really bad congestion. So we give it a big priority, and it's also identified as a congestion corridor in the 2040 plan, and also could be used as alternative from the congestion corridors. So, and we give like a 15 point to this one. The next one also, if it has a really significant impact that was determined by the travel demand model. What we did with the travel demand model is, Scott here, you know, like he's an expert on that. We assume that what if we build all of these segments, you know, like the 22, is that really will have a significant impact, and we, you know, like, so within 5 miles of the area. And that's the actually summary table. We had like a number, 10th of table has analysis of numbers to come up with this one. So when we did the analysis, it shows that Willow Creek came as number one. We'll have a significant reduction and improvement by 219%. However, so it's improving connectivity, improving congestion in certain area, but it shows the negative impact will start from US 6 all the way to Central Avenue in Willow Creek. So it will add more traffic on that. So the next steps, when we look at into more details to the study and start looking at segment by segment and have more engineering details of this study, we will look into that, you know, like, yes, it will improve connectivity, it will reduce congestion, but we have to solve other issues that could be caused because adding traffic between US 30 and Central Avenue. That's why maybe if we have a new interchange by maybe 149, will actually redirect traffic from Willow Creek, and with discussion with the City of Portage staff, that was a preference for them to have a new interchange. So, but like, we cannot talk about that unless we have a detailed study about the segment. The next one was Berry Street. That was really, will have a significant impact and ranked number 2. And then Main Street and Manster, and that will provide a good connectivity to the Illinois side. Klein Avenue North, of course, will have a good connectivity to US 30, and that will reduce congestion around US 30 when people use it take it all the way from 30 instead of going 65 or 41. 109, as I mentioned, a connection to 394, and so on. We have 600, we have 101. But, however, like we have some, maybe you look at that, it doesn't have a significant reduction, but really it will relieve something else. Like when we come to Boyd Street, it really will reduce truck traffic in downtown area. It will have, like for the intermodal facilities, So when we met with the communities, they really talked about, how important these segments for them. So, but we use the scoring system because when we compete at the national level, if we would like to seek funding, it's a very high competition, so we have to really make the case to be able to compete for funding. So that's why the priority list will help us with that. So the next one is if also has a high crashes, as I mentioned, and I have the map here showing that this is a high crash area around the segments. It's mostly in Lake County, and then some medium crashes, but it shows right away, give some score 8 points right away to the segments that have a high crashes around the area. The next one, we looked at the urbanized area and activity centers. We have major employment centers, we have hospitals, we have shopping malls, we have retails. All of these areas generate traffic. So that also will give a priority. If we have a really intense urban centers or urban activities, it means more traffic, so we give more points to segments within this area. Of course. So that's showing the activity centers on the red color, and all the segments in proximity to this red area will receive more points. The next one, if it improves connectivity also to interchange versus arterial versus minor road versus local roads. So if it's connected to interchanges, we receive the full mark of the points, which is 18 points. Major principal will go 15, and then we'll go 12 and 10. So we're going down as a road not having like that much traffic or local street. The other one is a high density population area. As I mentioned, that generate traffic, or high employment area. And in this one, what happened to this? So that's the like 2 mile or half a mile within around the segments. Here showing segment number 1 is a very high density area population, and around this one, so it's scored number 1. We have like Kennedy, and then comes here to Grant Street, and then we have Valparaiso here. That's the top high density area, and they also receive more points. The other receive points, but not as high as the top one. The next one is the retail services, shopping mall. That's another one that received more points. Also the connection, that's showing the retail services. The connection to the air or rail centers, to the airport, to train station, to transit, make it more easy. And we have the red color showing the major connectivity to the major facilities. So we have a number of them here that receive more point for this criteria. And then the last one is has potential impact in environmental sensitive area. As I mentioned, we run the red flag analysis, and really some of them shows very significant negative impact. And Burr Street is an example showing that really have a lot of issue. Even though it's a number 2, like in improving congestion, reducing congestion and improving connectivity, but has a lot of environmental issue which could make it a high cost to implement this project. Here is a table showing the different red flag analysis that was run here by Joe Excel from the environmental department, infrastructure, water resources, mining, cultural resources. That include all the historical buildings. So we have like some high score here. You see Klein Avenue North, Burr Street, North Hobart, and also the County Line Road, Willow Creek, still have some environmental issue. Campbell Street has really, they have the railroad is a major issue, but also they have a lot of historical and cultural area. So that's why it's scored high, but it's not really affecting the construction as much. But people has to preserve all of these historical area. And that's the final score for all the 22 segments. We have as the top here, Main Street. We had before, Willow Creek was #1 based on the travel demand modeling. But when we run all of the criteria, it's actually became #3. We have Main Street, Klein, Willow Creek, Burr Street, and so on. You have in the packet with you a map and a summary of the table that's showing the different scores for your reference. So, and the next step for that now, like we completed the study and by the end of last year. We had, as Stephen mentioned, public review. We didn't have any negative review. Everybody was in support for this study, and we would like to move forward with the next steps once you already adopted. Moving to additional engineering studies around the segments, one by one. Also, of course, will be adopted within our regional plan and long-range plan, and also we encourage the local government to adopt this study or the segments within their jurisdictions. Also, next step, we will identify the funding and the next strategies to implement and move forward with the different plans. And we going to establish an implementation committee to see how we're going to align funding for implementation or more planning and engineering study. So that's, I think, conclude my presentation. And if you have any questions, here is a team. And again, the nice graphic that Sarah did.
Mr. Carnahan is behind.
I just have a comment on, I used to take Klein Avenue to 231, then 109th, and take Calumet over to 101st and exchange the 394 to go to work at Ford when I worked there. And it would get congested at 394, and since I've retired, they've now got a turning lane which helps move traffic. But anything we can do to help improve the flow of traffic, especially coming back there in the evening on 109th and 231, it's just backed up by horrible backups.
Oh, okay. So actually, I had the phone call from the Lake County that they would like to meet with us, with St. John, and would like to meet with Munster, Dyer, all of this area, because they really wanted to move forward and have a better connectivity to 394. So that I was really excited about this initiative that we would like to do.
I might add that the Main Street segment becomes important as implementation of the Westlake Corridor project.
Exactly, because with the TOD and all of this, the new stations around this area, we need a better connectivity around there. Yes.
So the Main Street project is connecting west from Main Street into Illinois then?
Yes.
Okay. What about the Calumet Tunnel project going through Munster? Is that far along in the process? Is that why it's not included?
No, we're
So
just
45th,
looking at the
45th?
missing links.
But-
Like that's a project by Munster. We are supporting this project, but,
Oh, but that's not,
it's a different study, just a different
but
study.
I thought it was north-south connection.
Yeah. I know, but like we just looking at the missing segments to be built.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a different one, but like we still in support of this study.
Are you working with Illinois to complete that segment of Main Street over to Dora Road?
Yeah, that's the next step. We are planning to have a meeting with the Illinois South Suburban Mayor, which is similar to us in the Illinois side, to organize and work and see how we're gonna fund that or move to next steps.
Is there anything further from anyone?
Iman, thank you very much. And I want to thank the commission for having such faith in the TPC that you adopted before you actually heard the presentation.
We always.
Not wanting to task you with that kind of faith again, before we consider Resolution 1703, which actually would, if adopted, bring Amendment 33 again before us, Ms. Pollard of our staff is going to do a slight presentation to inform our deliberation.
Hi. The amendment that you have before you is on page 56. Amendment 33 is only dealing with project number 1601923 for the city of Portage. The bottom two Valparaiso projects are not part of this amendment. If you like, you can consider it a sneak peek to next month's meeting, but it will not be part of amendment number 33. This project for the city of Hobart is a rehab for a bridge that goes over the toll road. It replaces a project that the city no longer wishes to do. It's been exposed to public comment with no comments received. It's also been reviewed by the Interagency Consultation Group for Air Quality. This was not sent to TROC, Transportation Resource Oversight Committee, because it's a drop-add project with no change in funding or year. And with that, we are asking for your consideration and approval of amendment number 33.
Does anyone have any questions of Ms. Pollard before we proceed? And you understood that that the way it's presented in the packet, it's only going to be dealing with the Portage component. The other two components listed in the exhibit attached to the resolution will be brought before us at a future time for our action. So everybody's clear about that? Excellent. The chair will entertain a motion then to adopt Resolution 1703.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution 1703. As many as in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
As many as opposed, say no. The yeses have it. The resolution is adopted, and the Amendment 33, including the Portage component, is approved. Thank you, Ms. Pollard, very much. And I believe the only other things I have to add from the Technical Planning Committee is that the next time that committee will meet is February 14th, Valentine's Day, on Tuesday at 9 a.m. in this room. And I thank the commission, I thank the former chair for the appointment to serve as the chair of that committee, and I thank all the members of the committee for their service to the full commission. Proceeding now to the balance of the agenda, it is my privilege and pleasure to welcome Mr. Powers, the Deputy Commissioner for the district from INDOT. There you are, Mr. Powers. And we haven't seen you in a while, so I had to sort of turn to find you. Welcome back. And we welcome you to make a report.
Thank you. Actually, it's like changes here. We've had some changes too, so I'll review them. In fact, at your next TPC, I'll probably start in the district if I may. Lindsay Quist, who is our Director of Capital Programs, will probably not be at the next TPC because if you saw the last TPC, Lindsay is very pregnant. So I'm presuming she will be out on maternity leave very soon. So I wish her the best. I mean, she may not be here now because of that. I don't know because I don't see her in the audience and she normally is here. So just for your information, there will be somebody acting in that capacity. Also, John Kruger, our construction director, has been, I don't know if you've been there a year now or not. He's also joining us in the audience and has decided he wants to come and join in the festivities here. So I'm glad he's here. I see him back there. Of course, Matt Dykesey is still here in our communication director role. So that's our staff from the district. Within INDOT itself, Brandy Hendrickson, our former commissioner, as of about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, it's been within whatever it's been, the appointments have taken place, has left INDOT to become the commissioner of state personnel. For those of you who don't know Brandy's background, she actually is a certified human resource manager, I believe, with a master's in human resources. Very capable. I'm really kind of excited about that because I think anybody that goes to personnel that's done time in one of these operational departments like an INDOT, it's going to benefit us greatly. To have someone on that side, for those of you who know human resources departments, you know what I'm saying. It's going to be great to have her there as an advocate for us in helping us get things done that we need done desperately. So a welcome move for her. And again, a great appointment by the governor in that regard. We also lost a promotion for Lori Torres, who was our legal counsel, is now the Inspector General. So we will be seeing an appointment in our legal area to lead that effort, which again, as you might imagine, in NDOT, there are legal considerations daily, if not hourly, not by the minute sometimes. So we are looking for some new leadership there. We haven't heard yet who that will be. Ryan Gallagher, our operations deputy, is also going to Purdue to head up, I forget what he's going to be doing there. I'm not going to say or guess because I don't recall what it was he said that he was going to be doing there. So we have someone acting in that capacity, which is Tony McClellan, who's one of my peers from the Seymour district. So some changes taking about in NDOT, and probably foremost, the new commissioner, who I would say for last, which I'm sure as mayors sitting here, you will all welcome, because he is a former mayor, the former mayor of the city of Franklin. Some of you may know, I think Mayor Milo knows him. Actually, we're communicating to a certain degree, and is going to be our commissioner, was appointed as a commissioner. We haven't met yet as an executive team. Oh, I'm sorry, his name is Joe McGinnis. I'm sorry, forgive me. I probably should have said that. He'll be coming up, doing district visits. I'm not sure when he'll be stopping into the MPOs to get acquainted. But again, I hope you heard me say he is a former mayor of a city. One thing that I learned when I came to NDOT, I served in the city of Indianapolis for a number of years, and I think we have brought a different flavor just to the point of the district and reaching out to you, and what I know Matt and I make real strong efforts to communicate on more of a local level, maybe this type of level, and not take such a macro view of who we are toward our relationship with you. Hence my welcoming a commissioner as a former mayor of a city, and probably will see the same thing as a department. He has not said that to me. Don't get me wrong, that's very much Rickology, but I just have a feeling that if you've been a mayor of a city or you've served in a city, you have a passion for city and understanding what that means and what infrastructure means to local government. And we just went through that very recently with Community Crossroads and some of those things. I just think it's going to work well for all of us. So that being said, I welcome Joe. I look forward to seeing him soon, and hopefully he'll visit us soon here. Beyond that, that's all the introduction I know of. I want to, some more good news, although it's preceded by bad news. You know, a wire thief was back on our roads taking a very dangerous approach, which I can't believe somebody would even want to go into one of those poles considering the size of wire and the amount of voltage that runs through them. But they were caught with the ISP along with NDOT and local authorities and local residents, believe it or not. So the message got out. Thank you to everyone who did get that message out. They were caught and the thefts have stopped. I believe that's all I have, unless anyone has questions for me.
Mr. Carnahan and Mayor McDermott. Is Bob Alderman still with us?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, yes, Bob is, and is very much engaged in the General Assembly, as you might imagine right now. So, yes, he is. I actually was talking on some of the agenda points yesterday with him. He is.
We just, Mr. Carnahan, we just passed the regional corridor study and talking about important links to help ease congestion. And I noticed that the Klein Avenue Bridge wasn't on there, and I know that this is causing congestion in Hammond, Gary, and East Chicago, and Whiting, and I think that we should continue to talk about it until there's a solution. So I was sort of hoping NDOT could give an update on what's going on with Klein Avenue.
I don't think there's a change other than Klein Avenue Bridge is private. It's a private operation. It's being...
It's a private operation with no, it's not built. It's been gone for 6 years now.
Meaning it's being built by a private entity, Mayor.
It's not been built, sir.
Well, I guess it's under the control and planned and operation.
So there's no responsibility. There's no responsibility to NDOT anymore. Or don't.
As far as I know, that's the last update that I have. In fact, I think there was a plan for construction, as I recall, released last year by the entity that's going forward with it. That's the only update I have there. I'm sorry.
Please.
Do you have any timeline or other information on this year's Community Crossings grants?
I do not. We haven't got through it. I'm sure that will probably be a topic for this session of the General Assembly, because that came out of the General Assembly. So I do not know what the timeline will be.
Does anyone else have a comment or a question for Mr. Powers? Thank you, Mr. Powers, very much. Are there any announcements, or excuse me, public comment? I beg everyone's pardon. Pursuant to our public participation policy, we require that people have a sign up to indicate their interest. Mr. Nowacki, I believe, Jim Nowacki of Gary, has asked for a moment to speak on a topic related to INDOT. And first, Mr. Nowacki, as we recognize you, I want to welcome you back from your walk. How did it go? Did you walk truly from Gary to the Indianapolis Capitol and back?
I did.
Oh, very good. I don't know if anybody was aware of that. He was doing that to call attention to his belief that medical marijuana should be legalized. I have to say that the Attorney General designate of the United States, he's not a fan of this, and the law of the United States still makes that illegal. I'm going to be very interested in what this administration might do to all the states that have made it legal, and suddenly we're going to have a preemption problem. For all the lawyers in the room, I just said it to show off to them, but Mr. Nowacki, please, welcome and make your comment.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Tan for his service and welcoming you as the new president. I just want to offer cautionarily that we don't want the probity to interfere with insightful humor and jokes that we all appreciate from this. So, probity has its place, but we don't want it to interfere with enjoying our meetings here. I did want to announce that I did have an excellent walk to Indianapolis in support of medical marijuana. It was very successful in as much as it generated an awful lot of attention and publicity, both nationally and in local major markets. Went viral on the internet. When I got to Indianapolis, I was welcomed by Senator Talion and her staff, Senator Melton and his staff, and they were very grateful. After 5 years of attempting to get a committee hearing on it, this is the first year they've got a committee hearing on it, and they felt that much of the publicity that was generated by my walk contributed to that effort, and so I'll take just a small amount of credit for that, and I was very grateful and thankful for the attention that I received. I also wanted to mention that as I was walking, I was taking a careful note of roads, state roads maintained by INDOT, not just the North District, but in the other districts, and I found some things that I think would be interesting to members of the NERC board. One, I found almost uniformly that the striping on the roads was in very poor condition. The roads were from fair to Midland, but the striping was all in a very poor condition. You notice the white stripe along the side of the road, which plays a very important role in safety. You also notice that the center stripes were in very poor condition, and some of the districts had used a process by putting a rumble strip in the middle of the road. I don't know if you've seen some of that, which almost obliterates the important yellow lines in the middle of the road. So where you might have a solid line or two solid lines indicating no passing district, now they put this rumble strip in, and you can't tell what that line means. So I think we have to be careful about how we install those rumble lines, or if you put in those rumble lines, you've got to paint over them. And the other thing I noticed was the condition of the shoulders. Uniformly along the entire road, the shoulders were in such poor shape where you might have a drop of 6 to 8 inches from the roadway to the shoulder. And some of the shoulders were in such poor condition that they would not support even the weight of a pedestrian. And I'd be sinking into my ankles walking as I stepped off the roadway, let alone supporting a car in some condition where you have to pull off the road, farm implements, slow-moving equipment, a bicyclist or whatever. So the two observations I would make, and bring that to Mr. Powers' attention, and the attention here is we've got to be careful about how we install these center rumble strips, and rather than spend a lot of money and just say, well, we've got to replace roads all over the state, even the simple matter of making sure that the striping is in good condition. I know that costs money, but where the striping was in place, the road looked like a new road even though it wasn't. And where the striping was not in good shape, the road looked like it was in poor condition even though it was still serviceable. So let's look at that striping, and let's look at those shoulders, because I think just like the shoulder on your body keeps your coat from falling off, these shoulders on the road keep the road together, provide safety, make the road much more operable than it would with the shoulders in an condition. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nowacki. We appreciate your engaged citizenship.
Mr.
We're now at
Chairman.
the place of...
I have a question. What route did you take?
That's what I was going to ask as well.
If there's no objection to the commission, we're going to allow a colloquy between Mayor Costa.
My first day, by the way, it was 350,000 steps, so it was a good walk. My first walk was from Gary to Rensselaer. Mostly I took county roads. I went down Broadway, then got to some county roads so I wouldn't have to do any backtracking. Then I cut down 114 to Route 421 and 421 all the way into Indianapolis. So it was 5 days of walking and 350,000 steps, and it was very enjoyable and I think very successful. And I would also urge any of your communities to support Senator Talion and her Senate Bill 255. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Is that Mr. Powers?
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask the same question, but also offer commentary, just in one particular one. Within LaPorte District, we have a strong effort, actually last year and going into this next construction year, I should say operational year 4, to restripe the entire district. So hopefully we'll get that addressed within LaPorte at least. But I do want to address the center line striping, just because I think too often we talk about tragedy here. And you've heard me say, again, I don't even know, some people know, younger people know what a phone booth is, but a car isn't one. And we had another tragedy very recently where someone drifted across a center line. I'm not going to speculate why. Yes, I am. I'm just not going to say it. Why a lot of people drift across center lines today, regardless of day or night. But that effort and the center line rumble strips, if you've been across or been on one of those roads and you drift, you know you've drifted. There is no more paint, there is no more you're seeing headlights in your face or you look up from your cell phone, which is what I was implying. If you are in that condition and hit those strips, you know you've hit them and you better do something or you're going to probably end up in a bad situation. So that is the idea in the engineering of centerline rumble strips, because we're trying to take this to the next generation as to what we are seeing as traffic patterns and habits of motorists, and again, maybe some negligent habits of motorists, if I may, and trying to prevent tragedy from in the future. So that's the idea. The striping is also, and since I have construction director here, I believe the striping is supposed to go alongside the rumble strip, correct, John?
Not necessarily. It can. There are two different versions depending on the width of the road. Predominantly, if you have enough width in your lanes, the rumbles go on either side of the striping. But if you don't have that width, they can go.
Then you would be,
exactly.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, most of where I've been is maybe one side or the other. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Royaki, for bringing that up, and thanks for telling me about the routes. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. Does the staff have any announcements? Does anybody on the commission? Yes, please, and then Mr. Carnahan. Announcements.
I want to get back to the conversation we had earlier with Mr. Powers. And, you know, a lot of issues come through NERC, and I know that we all live in different parts of the county. Some issues are more important to some people than other issues, like, you know, the railroad issue, Ileana, I know is more important to South Lake County than it was in North Lake County, but it's a responsibility for all of us to listen and to care, because if it happens to your part of the county, it could happen to my part of the county 2 or 3 years down the road. All right? This is the Regional Planning Commission. You know, we just got done doing a regional corridor study where we're talking about important regional connections so that we can ease the flow of traffic across the region. You know, I drive through LaPorte, I drive through Porter County. It's important to me, too, that we fix congestion in your neighborhoods, all right? But there's an important segment that was missing off of that, and I wasn't going to jam up the whole thing, but because I think it's falling off our radar. I think it's fallen off NERC's radar. I know it's fallen off NDOT's radar. 6 years ago, a bridge that carried 30,000 cars per day was shut down. The Klein Avenue Bridge. Most of that was semi-traffic. A lot of that was people going to and from work at the mills. And it was shut down, and all that traffic got diverted into our streets, beating up our infrastructure. So it's frustrating for me when we don't even talk about it anymore. And then when you talk to NDOT, NDOT says, not my problem anymore. I tell you, I know why Mayor Copeland chose to do what he did. He's trying to get the job done. He wants to make a deal so that bridge is built. He wants to get the job done, and I respect him for that. But the problem is, it's not getting done. It's 6 years. There's not even a plan on the table. And it's a disgrace when the Regional Planning Commission and NDOT are like, not my problem anymore. If we don't care about it anymore, Hammond, Gary, East Chicago are going to continue to see semis going through their city that used to go on the Klein Avenue Bridge. So I do think it's NDOT's responsibility. And I appreciate Mayor Copeland for stepping forward to try to fix it, but it's not getting fixed. And there's not even a plan in place. And I think that us commissioners have a responsibility to support other commissioners when there's a problem in their area. And there's a problem in our area. We need to get it fixed. Mr. Powers, I do, all due respect, think it's NDOT's responsibility to at least monitor it. And Ty, I think it's NERC's responsibility to at least monitor it and try to give Mayor Copeland a little help here, because it's not happening. And if we haven't even struck a deal, much less build it, we're talking 5 years if we start right now. Not my responsibility. This thing's never going to get done. We do have a responsibility. NERC does, so does NDOT.
Mr. Chairman.
I'll let you go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Carnahan, then we'll have you, because you did have an announcement. Please go ahead.
Let me add also, like it was painfully apparent that no monies was coming from the state to rebuild Klein Avenue, so we look for alternatives. I'm also painfully aware of that no money is coming to fix the local roads either. So, I mean, it's just a catch-22 all the way around. I mean, what do you do? Maybe now that we brag about we have a $2 billion surplus, yet none of it trickled down and never reached underneath the table and feed those that's beneath it, that maybe we will take a very proactive look and aggressive approach to fixing our infrastructure.
Mr. Carney,
Let's comments about this.
Surveyor Emerson.
I'd like to echo Mayor McDermott and Mayor Copeland's comments as well. One amendment to Mayor McDermott's, he said 6 years, it's been 7 years. So that's a huge gap in time that traffic's been going through our communities unnecessarily, and industrial traffic, that is what Klein Avenue is built for. So it's dangerous. I take it personally. I grew up with my alley, sharing an alley with Calumet Avenue in Hammond, so I understand how dangerous that can be. I'd also, I guess, note that I think we've been making these arguments for 7 years now, and it doesn't seem to get through. And maybe another way to look at it is there's miles of Klein Avenue that aren't being used right now. Bridges, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure that's been sitting there unused, and you're an asset manager. You understand that you got to manage your assets, and bridges only have so much lifespan to them. So 50, 60 years, so 10%, 15% of the lifespan of those bridges is wasted. So those are just sitting there unused. So that's a huge expense that the state's incurring by not using these assets. So that's one way to look at it. So it's been 7 years, and I think something's got to be done. There's a huge gap in the state road that I think NDOT should care about, and at some point put some money forward. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Carnahan?
All right, before I make my announcement, I'll say that when this happened, I had indicated in support of this, and I had said in a meeting that if this would have happened in Indianapolis, it would have been fixed by the state, and we would be trying to do what we're trying to do today.
Did you have an announcement, though, to follow besides that?
Cedar Lake Historical Association on Saturday, February 4th, from 2 to 5, will have a winter wine event at the Lighthouse in Cedar Lake, and I am very thankful that the White Lodging people didn't dispose of the Lighthouse restaurant. They're going to continue to operate.
I thank you. Are there any other announcements from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment.
I already asked for staff, Mitch.
I'm sorry.
If there's no objection, Mitch will speak.
Mayor McDermott mentioned how NERC could be involved. In fact, I did speak with the consultant regarding the bridge project at Klein Avenue, and they are working quite expeditiously at this time in getting those plans taken care of, and talked about a construction timeline and the like. I think it's high time that this body actually heard from that consultant, and NERC will hopefully bring them to this meeting next month to provide an update on that status. Okay?
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate the timeliness and germaneness of that. Is there any other announcement to come before the body? I just want to conclude by thanking you all again.
We have one. Joyce.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Joyce. I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
Just wanted to notify the commission that in probably sometime in July, Federal Highway and FTA will be coming to review the planning process as required by law. Our four-year review will be taking place then.
Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Perceiving there's no other announcements, and having concluded the matters on the agenda, I just want to say thank you to everyone again. I appreciate so much you made a quorum and that you allowed me to serve you in this way. Again, I will try to be at least as good as the predecessor leadership, and I thank you for that opportunity to serve you. Having concluded the matters on the agenda, we are adjourned.
Thank you.